for Tuesday, October 25th to order. First is Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is the approval of the agenda. We just have one item to add under old business, and that is to send a letter to the county board regarding legislative priorities, and then also to authorize the chief to work with Sheriff Starry regarding the fence consortium.
I'll move the agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Runk, second by Councilmember Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
Next is council staff reports. Had a busy couple weeks. On the 12th, I had 3 meetings with the Energy Transition Advisory Committee for taxes, reuse, and community engagement. Attended the Last Man's Club luncheon at the Lowell Inn, which was really a very nice presentation. And then the 19th had the Excel securitization meeting. It was a great presentation, and I'll see if all of you want to take a look at it because it's got some good information in it. Then I had the Midwest Governors Association meeting last Thursday, or was it Tuesday? Today I was at the Energy Transition Advisory Committee meeting at the Prairie Island Indian Community Center, and that was to present the final plan that'll be going to the legislature for the energy transition. Tomorrow I have Minnesota Mayors Association annual meeting. Thursday and Friday is the Minnesota Small Cities Board Retreat, and I'll be hosting it for the small city. Council members are welcome to come at 2 o'clock for the part of the board meeting, and then there's a meet and greet at Water Street Inn from 4 to 6 in Charlie's, is it Charlie's Pub?
Yep.
Okay. Then on the 1st is a Bayport Fire Advisory meeting, and tentatively it's 4 to 5. And then I have Regional Council of Mayors, and then the Integrated Resource Plan meeting, and that's going to be held downtown at the XL building. And then Friday I have a transportation, National League of Cities Transportation and Infrastructure call, or Zoom meeting. That's it for me. Councilmember Doherty.
I have nothing to report.
Councilmember Johnson.
I attended the Parks Commission meeting this month, and other than that, I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Councilmember Liljegren.
Just that I plan to attend that Bayport Fire meeting on November 1st.
Thank you. Councilmember Runts.
I have nothing to report.
Okay, then we'll have staff report. Chief Hansen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple quick things here with Halloween approaching. We're just reminding everybody to obviously be careful over the Halloween events. On Monday coming up here, we do also just want to highlight on Halloween Day, if the kids want to come to the City Hall, the police department, we will have treats for them and glow sticks and necklaces ahead of time. Get some mileage out of your costumes before the actual night occurs there, so that's kind of fun for the front staff. And then we're currently right now, staff is officers at the Boot Bash at Kowalski's until 7. Also,
Do you want the children to come up here before trick or treat?
Yep, they can come up here before trick or treating. No,
Any particular time?
just during the hours of 8 a.m. to 4:30. So anytime between that, they can stop by City Hall and get treats and glow sticks. And additionally, with November right around the corner here, we've got our parking restrictions that are coming up November 1st. That is no parking on street from 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. all the way to March. Of course, we typically just hand out warnings and try to make contact on the first couple of rounds, but we just want to get people into that rhythm as we wait for our snow to come. And additionally, on that same topic, we just ask that people be cautious and care of their garbage cans as far as where they placement of it, as it gets tricky when the snow starts building up on the edges of the driveway and out in the streets, and they start to find themselves more into the street, and that becomes problematic for our plow trucks as well as emergency vehicles, and people start hitting them actually, and it turns into a mess. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Assistant City Administrator Pinsky.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thomas and Jacqueline
Delahunt at 5492 Oak Green Place North. They were selected as the most recent recycling award winner. And then I also wanted to remind residents that we do have some changes coming with our garbage contract starting January 1st. Your new pickup day will be Tuesday instead of Thursday, and recycling will be weekly. We will be sending out information to our residents on some of the other changes, which include extra pickup item charges and yard waste.
Thank you. Next, we have the AED presentation and a thank you, Chief. And Officer Ferndorf.
Yes, thanks again, Mayor. Tonight, we just wanted to come back and show our appreciation to all the businesses that helped push through and lead the way in getting us this, our new equipment for EADs. And with that, I'm going to turn over to the point person who led on this mission here to solicit and get this all organized was Officer Ferndorf.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Over the last several months, I've been collecting donations, some of which was through grant requests, but a lot of it came just from reaching out to businesses within our community. We received a lot of great support from our community members, and the following businesses that donated were Carboni's Pizzeria and Pub, XL Energy, Presbyterian Homes and Services, Quick Trip, Walmart, and Pizza Man. Some of these businesses were even generous enough to cover the entire costs of a single AED, which was awesome. With that being said, our 5 new AEDs are here, and after some training tomorrow, those will be being implemented into our squad cars and ready to go after tomorrow. So again, we just want to, on behalf of the rest of the police department, share our thanks and appreciation for these generous donations.
I want to thank you for all of your efforts in putting this all together. This is just wonderful to have it. And thank you to all of those who donated to get these. I think they'll be a great addition for everyone.
Yes, and if Mayor, if it's all right, we have one of the XL Energies here tonight. Brian, if you're able to step up here real quick and don't mind, just get a quick photo with the officers and the equipment.
Yes.
If that's all right. Great. Yeah, over here, maybe Kaylin.
Jen, do you want to get the picture?
Sure, I don't have my phone. Take a couple, okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Looking good. Nice job.
Once again, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Chief. Next is visitor public comment section. This is time for anyone in the audience who would like to address the council on anything not on the agenda. And if you could keep your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda, which is approved bills and investments, check 68626 to 68687 for a total of $628,338.53. Approved city council minutes from October 11th, 2022. Eureka Construction Incorporated 6th payment for Norrell Avenue, and approved rate increase for MJ Raleigh Trucking Incorporated. Is there a motion to approve?
So.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Doherty, second by Councilmember Runk. Eric, can you do the roll?
Councilmember Doherty.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Lodgren.
Yes.
Councilmember Runk.
Yes.
Mayor McCumber.
Yes. Next, we have no public hearings for tonight, so we'll move on to old business. I thought I'd have more information, but this is for the MPCA information for the LNS King plant closure, having a possible work session, which I have brought up before at other council meetings. With part of the Energy Transition Advisory Committee, I had some really good presentations from the public utilities, or the MPCA, and then also from the St. Paul Port Authority on issues that they dealt with redoing the Ford plant. Now, Melanie McMahon from St. Paul got back to me on dates for the first Monday or Wednesday in November, or November 30th, And then also in December 5th and 7th, or December 12th, 15th, and if those dates don't work, but I'd try and pick a date that works, try and get, at least if we can get Melanie definitely to come here, and then we'll work with Craig McDonald. I thought he'd be at the meeting today, but he had some conflict, so I didn't get an answer today like I was hoping. But is there a date in particular that works for everybody, do you think? And that would be with the Park Commission and the Planning Commission together, and the Advisory Committee.
Could you repeat those dates again?
November 7th or the 9th. Or no, it wasn't the 7th, it was the week after that. No, it was the 7th and the 9th. And then it was December 5th and the 7th, or December 12th or the 15th. And then there was also November 30th she had on there.
Those, December 5th is the only one that would work.
December 5th?
I think that would work for
That
me.
works for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we tentatively, because we'll have another council meeting before then, but tentatively put it on there, and then I will get in touch with them and make sure that we can get that date all locked up. Because we'll have our meeting, November 14th. Okay, so I'll get back to her on that. And then we could maybe, when you have Park Commission and Planning Commission this month, maybe just check with them and see if those dates work too, that date.
I think with the Parks Commission, Jenny said she'd send out the date.
Okay. I'll just circle back with Melanie tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow I can get a hold of her and make sure that that still works, and then hopefully I can get an answer from Craig from MPCA as well. So the next item is send a letter to the county board regarding the legislative priorities, and then authorize the chief to work with Sheriff Starry regarding the fence consortium, and have staff put that together and send that out, or I can send it to the, to Commissioner Kriesel. But just to have authorization to go ahead and work with that, because I think if we have the county has a lobbyist, that if they take the lead for all of the cities, and then all the cities then send a letter of support that we're supportive of it, I think it'll pull a lot of weight legislatively to get some kind of funding for that fencing.
I agree.
I'll make the motion to authorize it.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Runk, second by Councilmember Liljegren, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we'll move to new business, which is Senior Housing Partners, Valley Senior Services Alliance for Planned Unit Development, General Plan, Conditional Use Permits, Preliminary and Final Plat, and Architectural Design Guidelines, Site Plan Review of the area north of 58th Street at Norwich Avenue. Scott?
Thank you, Mayor.
That was a lot.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, this is the general plan application that includes the first phase of the development, which is a 79-unit multiple family apartment building. It'd be located just north of existing parking lot on the subject property. So adjacent to the entrance into the tunnel, there's an existing parking lot there, and this would just go to the north of that. The concept plan was adopted on August 23rd by the City Council, and the Planning Commission at their October 13th meeting held the public hearing and unanimously approved or recommended the general plan and conditional use permits and design review for this project. No issues with the comp plan. This has been planned for a mixed use of business and residential uses, and it's designated as residential business transitional. Zoning is B4. Multiple family development is a conditional use permit in that district. There's a couple of those conditional use permits, as the mayor listed. The building's over 3 stories and 35 feet require a conditional use permit also. The subdivision, you're also looking at a final plat to Beltwell's Landing Second Edition, taking us from an outlot to a platted property. Park dedication, research has shown that park dedication connection fees were not paid for this area to the north of 58th Street, so that will be included as part of the development agreement, and that will come back to the council for review later. The project is fine as far as the overall project density open space. Again, this really hasn't changed since the concept plan approval that you made, but just pointing out a couple of the points. Setbacks, a westerly setback to the Walmart is at 28 feet, whereas 30 feet is required. Again, the planning and development allows us to be somewhat flexible on that. The minimum floor areas, they have some alcove or efficiency units of 487 square feet, and we have a requirement of 600 square feet for that type of unit, but an elderly component, or the elderly requirement of 440 square feet. Planning Commission discussed this, did not really have an issue with allowing those smaller units, because that does fit what they're looking for in terms of providing workforce housing and more affordable units for people that work there and then people in the community also. Street access will not change. The current access to 58th Street will be in place, but additional access will be provided with subsequent phases. City Arborist has looked at it. There's a report in your packet from our arborist, and no major issues. Grading and drainage, subject to review of the city engineer and the Middle St. Croix Watershed Management Organization. Parking, through the process, we talked to the developers, and they're looking at a requirement of 158 parking spaces for this Phase 1 building, but with the existing lot, in addition to that lot, they're looking at 154 parking spaces. That employee utilization of that lot isn't that great. They've analyzed that their parking needs for employees and then for this apartment we've encouraged them to reduce the amount of parking rather than increase. So again, that has worked in as part of the general plan, and we see no issues with that. In fact, we feel it's positive in terms of the urban heat island mitigation with additional landscaping, with the reduction in spaces. It's a positive situation. Again, as far as the detail items, they provided, lighting, sign, lighting, and other detail items. We have no issues with that. Building height, again, as I mentioned, requires a CUP. They're at 49 feet, 3 inches to the midpoint of the gable roof. It's 4 stories, and which exceeds the requirement at 3 stories and 35 feet. So the Planning Commission went through all these items, did their usual thorough review, and have recommended favorably with the conditions that you find in the resolution tonight. Jennifer is here from the Planning Commission. We have representatives from Valley Seniors also for any questions. So anything for me?
Just the one question, and it might not be for you, it might be for Kevin instead. I did watch the Planning Commission when this, for the public hearing on this, and with regard to the rentals of these, that they won't all be for Valley Seniors, there will be some open market
That's
ones.
correct.
So that'll be in the developers agreement? Because it's not in here.
We can include that in the developer's agreement. I don't think there's any restriction that it has to be, that we've imposed as a condition, that this has to be workforce housing for their employees, and so I think it goes without saying that they can rent to whomever they choose.
I just know I did hear that comment come up at the Planning Commission. Does council have any questions for Scott?
I'll make a motion that we pass the resolution as presented in the packet.
I will second that.
Motion by Councilmember Runk, second by Councilmember Doherty. Eric, can you call the roll?
Councilmember Doherty.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Liljegren.
Yes.
Councilmember Runk.
Yes?
Mayor McCumber.
Yes. When does construction start?
Hopefully in late spring of 2023.
Well, congratulations. Thank you very much.
May I also pass a note to the applicants? I've heard from a couple of Boutwells residents that they're really interested in this development, so if you guys are interested in doing public engagement, that might be of interest for your residents.
We've been in contact with them, and we'll continue to do so.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you very much. Move on to next item under new business. Chief, appointment of 2 full-time new hire police officers.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor and Council, we started the process of looking at hiring 2 new officers a couple months ago. We have completed that process. consisting of 2 interviews, a final interview with the chief's interview, and then they were given conditional offers to 2 of the applicants. Those conditional offers entailed 4 items. 1, completing a background satisfactory physical, psychological exam, and then tonight, the final appointment. So tonight, I'm asking the council to give approval and final appointment of Brian Furman and Will Gustafson as new full-time police officers with the city of Oak Park Heights. They're to start November 9th and then the 10th next month. And maybe I'll just give a quick background because I know we had a really speedy interview process, and I appreciate that tolerance in letting me do that for obvious reasons. The candidate pool is a little low going out here, but Will Gustafson, he comes from the military. He's got 10 years of service in there, and he's a combat medic, EMT. So looking for a smaller agency as well, and so he's just going to be an awesome fit here. The other applicant, Brian Furman, he comes with some law enforcement experience as a CSO in 2 other cities, and then he was a full-time officer in a larger agency in the West Metro for 6 months. And he too was looking for a smaller agency and has family that works out here already, and it's going to be an awesome fit as well. So I know you didn't get a chance to see or interview them, but I wanted to put some of that bio out to you guys.
Well, we'll get to meet them at some point.
Absolutely. In a good way.
Well, of course, in a good way.
I make a motion that we do the appointment of the 2 full-time officers.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Doherty, second by Councilmember Liljegren. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, congratulations. You'll have a...
Thank you.
Okay, then comments on Washington County Capital Improvement Plan for 2023 to 2027. Eric.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Your packet includes a resolution and a letter to Washington County that outlines similar concerns as last year's action about the project on their capital improvement plan for the 58th Street County Highway 15 South segment. I won't go into all the great details of the resolution or the letter. However, it basically, again, states the city expresses some concerns with the project in terms of there was not an exploration of alternatives. There was not just not clear findings as to some of the impacts they claim in the CIP and relative to amount of traffic on Highway 36 being generated from an north-south fashion, and ultimately their budget stated is incompatible with what they state to the state when they adopted their sales tax increase a couple of years ago, where they stated in that document it was 18.1 million, but at this point they're only saying, 10.4 million. So there's some alternatives and things. Again, the council did provide comments last year. These are largely similar, some nuances aside. So if you did want to provide that resolution approval and offer those comments, the county invariably could say, hey, great, thank you, and do nothing, or they could, incorporate all those things just like your own CIP. So with that, that's, I think, the long and short of it.
And they're looking to us in 2025 to be a $500,000 contributor, is that correct?
Well, I don't know who that local party is, to be fair.
Well, considering it's just us and the county.
Oh, no, they would probably, their CIP also includes the Stillwater and Stillwater Township.
Well, 500,000 is quite a bit of money.
Again, the document doesn't say, no way, you can't do this. It just simply says, here, you have a CIP, you're asking for comments, here they are.
Does council have any comments or?
I move to authorize it.
Is there a second? Motion by Councilmember Councilmember Runk, second by Councilmember Liljegren. Eric, can you take the roll?
Sorry. Councilmember Doherty.
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson.
Yes.
Councilmember Liljegren.
Yes.
Councilmember Runk.
Yes.
Mayor McCumber.
Yes. And next we have the pothole survey for Oak Park Crossing Park. Jennifer?
Yes, Mayor and Council, we were notified by Xcel Energy that they will be doing a drone survey over Oak Park Crossing Park on Monday, October 31st. Following that, they would like to conduct a pothole survey, which includes digging some holes to measure the depth of the cap and in various areas throughout the park. They're hoping to do that in November, and in doing that, they will have a thorough topographic map, which hasn't been updated since 2011, 12-ish, when the park was created. That map will be helpful for any future park use that would go into that space, and so Xcel Energy is requesting that the city would be amenable to paying cost sharing for that. The total cost for the survey is $6,000. They're requesting that the city go half on that for $3,000. I did bring this up at the Parks and Trails Commission meeting last week. The Parks and Trails Commission thought it would be a valuable tool for the city to have, and to have those reports, which would be provided to us if we cost share in that. So their recommendation was that the city council authorize the cost share of $3,000 with funding coming from the Moulter Fly Ash Site Fund, which has a balance of $93,737.75.
What does council think about that? About having that done? I think it'd be beneficial. We haven't had that for quite a while.
I move that we go ahead and do the cost sharing on the pothole study or whatever.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Doherty, second by Councilmember Johnson. Any other comments? All in favor? Aye. Are there any other council items or announcements?
Might be helpful if you announce the reminder of when our next council meeting is.
Oh, okay. Our next council meeting isn't until Monday, November 14th, due to election on the 8th. So it'll be same 6 o'clock on November 14th, which is a Monday. Thanks for the reminder. Are there any other council items or announcements?
Got it? I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Runk, second by Councilmember Johnson. All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.